Many thanks for joining us. This is Good Morning Uganda, and I'm Olive Monica Najama, your host, together with Trevor Robert Nyonyintono and Jerome Paul Sonko. Welcome. It is a beautiful day, fresh day, Wednesday, the day when we also crush on women. I don't know who my colleagues are crushing on this morning, but if there is a woman in your life that has done a great job for you in one way or another, today is the day to recognize her. If you can, send her a message and say, I appreciate you for this and that, because we have so many women who pour into us. Some of them are women within our families, some of them are our friends, some of them are our bosses and workmates. So whichever the woman, whoever the woman is, you should reach out to them and tell them you appreciate them. Now, personally, I will appreciate and crush on single moms. As the term begins, I understand fully the struggle a single mother goes through to take their child to school, or if they have more than one child. I understand it's no mean feat, it's not a walk in the park, but they do it anyway. So to every single mother out there that is ensuring that your children are in school, well fed, well taken care of, that they're thriving, I crush on you today, and I encourage you to keep doing what you do, because you are amazing. If no one has told you this today, you are amazing. You need to hear this, you need to believe it, because you're doing such a great job, and I can assure you those children will never forget that. But now, looking at the news coming in from the Ministry of Works and Transport, Karuma Bridge has been closed and will stay closed for the next 3 months as works go on, so that it is no longer a flight risk for those that ply the route every single day. Now, government has provided a second vessel that will transport traders and many other people to different areas that people that have been coming to Karuma using the bridge, so that they can ease transport. Now, this construction of the part of the bridge will cost the government about 7 billion shillings. But the good news is that once this is done, then there will be a bridge no one will have to worry about. Earlier, the bridge had been closed so that UNRA could assess the damage on the bridge, and heavy vehicles had been steered off the bridge. But now the entire bridge has been closed. So travelers will have to find alternate routes and also to use the port and get to one place from another. Now, that being said, I would like to check on Robert Nyonyintono and ask you, do you know Puff Daddy or P. Diddy?
He was the man at that time.
Yes, he was. And at some point he was actually, he dated Jennifer Lopez. I think they even got engaged at some point.
And also, when now you bring in issues of Jennifer Lopez, how many times has that lady gotten married?
Actually, only 3 times. Only 3 times. But she has been engaged far more times. Yes, anyway, she's not the reason why I'm asking you about Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Sean Diddy Combs was arrested in a sex trafficking case, and he tried to post bail of 50. He tried to get bail, saying that he can pay $50 million, and the judge couldn't have it. But I'll share more regarding that.
Now, I think personally,
yes,
I'm beginning to doubt if these cases happened. First happened to R. Kelly, Robert.
Yes.
And then there was one of Mike Tyson. I don't know why the black Americans that at one time excelled, their endings are not that very good, and it's something common. Sex. You know, why? I think some of these things, maybe it is that people don't want to accept.
Okay.
The black have made it.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me, are they all silly to that extent? That you have a Robert Kelly, what brings him down is something to do with sex. Now here we go.
You have Bill Cosby.
You can measure, actually the list is endless, but they're all coming into issues of sex scandal, sex trafficking.
But I would like to ask you, Robert, have you followed any of these cases? Like in the case of R. Kelly, there was even a documentary where one of his wives, the mother of his 4 children, was even testifying against him over the things he had done. the family of one of the girls that he had, for lack of a better word, kidnapped because she was a minor, and he was living with her without the support of her parents, and of course against the law, and many more cases that came to the fore. Now, as a black person, I also have been of the feeling that maybe this is a ploy to get black men and guillotine them. But the evidence is there. In the case of Sean Combs, his previous girlfriend, I forget her name, she was his girlfriend for some good time. I forget her name. She actually, video footage came out where he was abusive, where he was beating her in the lobby or in the corridors of a certain hotel. And then many other cases have come up with boys and men saying that he molested them. So
you see, when you live glory,
it's hard
that's
to
why
beat
in Islam
this.
they say two things. That when you find a person who once had money and no longer has, or a person who once had authority and power and no longer has, pitiful. When you're at your end, anything is possible. I'm not a devil's advocate, but anything. And when you talk about the ex-girlfriend, the ex-wife, man, when someone is out of your life, never trust the little you did share.
The ex-girlfriend is
so for
thriving.
me, I'll still say black supremacy is at attack.
No, I don't disagree, but I would like for you to counter with your own evidence, counter with other cases. If you do not have, because I've seen the evidence, I read through the lawsuit that was filed by the ex-girlfriend, and this is where everything started. Now, when they went to his home, the FBI found over 1,000 bottles of baby lubricant in his house. What was he doing with it?
Well, it
Good
will
morning,
take a long
Jerome.
time to convince me, but
Good morning, Jerome.
Good morning to you, and good morning, Robert Nyonyintono. How are you doing, Robert?
I'm doing fine, but when I hear such, you know, I'm so much into this black man and black supremacy. Now, anything similar to that, I want to look at the white celebrities. How do they end? Do they
Well,
also
there is
end in
Kevin
sex
Spacey. His
scandals?
career
Are they
ended
linked to
because
that
of a
number?
sex scandal.
All the blacks are that a hyena fool that for them when it comes to women, sex, young kids, they can't control when they're at their helm of fame and all that. This
Good morning, good morning, Monica.
Good morning,
And,
Jerome.
in the
I would
same
like to
spirit
hear your
of,
thoughts on
in
that.
the, in the same spirit of black excellence,
Yes.
like Robert does mention. Well, there are so many questions to ask in relation to how the lives of the once famous or the once great men, black men in the United States especially, or those in the limelight, have been ending their careers. But well, of course, at times you get to realize that their careers tend to take a turn because there are lots of events that normally happen. And when you are to follow up on some of these great celebrities, one of the most breaking thing about their careers is the fact that one of the things that break their careers is something related to sexual violence, sexual harassment cases that many of them find themselves victims. And when you mention Robert Kelly, now you are having PDD here, because there's so many questions in regards to things that have been found in his house. But not only that, more reports regarding the parties that he has always been holding in his mansions. Many of those have also been included. There are some allegations that the same parties were being used by even some white celebrities who are close to him to do quite a number of other things, molesting children. And of course, all these allegations are coming out, and they've been coming out in the last 12 months. So we wait to see, of course, as the more investigations come in and what the courts will have to say.
And Jerome, speaking about the parties, it's also evident in the videos that blacks, especially hip-hop artists, the videos that they churn out, you see the kind of lifestyle they are trying to portray. And it is said by investigators that this doesn't end on video. Some of this is their true lifestyle. So in as much as I want to support black artists and black people, I also pay attention to what people with money and power can do.
Yes,
because
and it is not only about the black community, by the way, Olive, when it comes to this, because even we've seen so many reports coming in from the white community as well in the US, and some of those have also been very influential in politics in the US, being pointed out in some of the sexual scandals out there. And of course, there are so many conspiracy theories relating to the same. But I wanted to draw your attention to a situation back home here in Uganda, because yesterday in Kampala, the city hall, there was chaos in the chambers of the councillors, because there is a specific committee and the councillors who engaged in, I wouldn't want to call it a fist fight, but there is footage showing some of the councillors holding chairs, trying to throw at each other. If you are to remember the days of the Toji Kwatako in Parliament, it was kind of a similar situation, because chaos was erupting at Kampala City Council, and the reason behind it was there is a report that was supposed to be
Jerome, as you're giving us the updates, we can see the action taking place.
So that committee, which is the City Executive Committee, is chaired by the Lord Mayor.
Yes.
That is Arias Lukwago. And they failed to apologize for not presenting a report on solid waste management in the city. And when you look at everything, you can easily see that the councillors were not happy, because they expected that this report has to provide an extensive strategy on how to address this growing chaos that we have in waste management in Kampala. And besides that, today being the 18th of September, and you've mentioned something to do with women.
Yes.
Today the United Nations celebrates the International Equal Pay Day. And this particular one looks at ensuring that people are paid the same amount of money if at all they are doing the same work or they are rendering out the same service. Of course, it has not been easy to work out or to regulate, especially in the private sector, but the UN is making different strides towards that. Though there is a worrying report that there is some imbalance in payment. 20% globally of the women in the working force are paid lesser than the men.
20%?
Even when, 20% globally. This is not even an African thing, but in the entire world.
Wow.
So there is that disparity in regards to how much they earn, and it's something the UN is also working towards, to ensure that at least in the years to come, women can as well be paid equally to their male counterparts, especially if at all they are rendering the same service or doing the same jobs.
Well, Sonko, thank you for that update. And my comment on that is that in as much as I am a woman and I hear where we are coming from, there is also discourse on certain fields, let's say football, where female footballers are earning well less than their male counterparts. But then the argument is, look at these games, let's say the Premier League, and see how much money male football brings in vis-a-vis how much money the women bring in. So whoever brings in more is the one who is getting more money. But when it comes to other sectors, there needs to be a conversation. But now let's delve into the news. I don't know why Chirabo is very excited.
Olive. Okay.
Let's go into
the news. Time is not on our side. Now, before announcing the close of the Karuma Bridge, Minister of Works and Transport, Gino Katumba Wamala, was taken under the bridge to assess the level of damage at the bridge. He announced the closure of the bridge. Government contracted China Railway 7 and National Enterprise Corporation of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, to repair the bridge that connects the north to central Uganda and will cost over 7 billion Uganda shillings to repair. Also, government has provided a second ferry at Masindi Port to ease the movement from northern Uganda to central. Local traders around Karuma Bridge appealed to government to provide speed motorboats to move goods from Karuma Trading Center to Kamadin Trading Center. Meanwhile, the transporters are wondering whether the ferry service will be available in the night, since most of the travelers like moving in the night. The 61-year-old bridge was built by the British government to serve for 40 years. In August this very year, Karuma Bridge was temporarily closed for heavy vehicles to enable technical team from Uganda National Roads Authority assess the level of damage on the bridge before total closure for the major work. Parliament hailed the late Sergeant Rebecca Cheptegei, a former Olympian who died recently after a domestic brawl. The legislators reflected on the legacy of Rebecca Cheptegei to denounce domestic violence and remind government on improving the sports facilities in the country. Rebecca Cheptegei, a former Olympic athlete, died on the 4th of September this year at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, Kenya. The late died after sustaining injuries after her partner set her on fire. A motion to pay tribute to former Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegei was introduced by the State Minister for Sports, Peter Ogwang. Cheptegei's death caused a black and dark environment in the sports field in Uganda. Cheptegei was a celebrated long distance and marathon runner who represented Uganda in many competitions. She was set ablaze by her partner, also the late Dixon Ndiema. Rebecca Cheptegei, a former Olympic athlete, died on September 4th this very year. Ogwang defended the narrative that athletes utilize training grounds in Kenya due to poor facilities in Uganda. The MPs asked that the stadium named after Rebecca Cheptegei be established in Bukwo district. The House adopted the motion and denounced domestic violence. Still on the local scene, Uganda Communications Commission is set to crack down on radio stations operating without meeting the minimum operational standards set by the regulator body. The Executive Director, UCC, Engineer Nyombi Tembo, said this move is part of a broader effort by the Commission to regulate and streamline Uganda's media landscape for better service delivery. The Uganda Communications Commission announced that the operation will be carried out in coming weeks. The Executive Director, Nyombi Tembo, stated that non-compliant stations are disrupting the critical role of communication and regulating and maintaining communication standards in the country. Nyombi added that this operation will also target radio stations failing to comply with minimum operation standards and those influencing their reporters to engage in unethical behavior. And finally, on the local scene, Kampala Capital City Authority councillors are demanding an apology from the City Executive Committee for failing to produce the waste management report. The SEC's failure to submit the report resulted into a scuffle between councillors and committee members, causing damage in the chambers. The Speaker of the Council, Zahara Yirika, stated that this is the third time they have requested the committee to present a similar report. Despite their repeated request, the SEC has not complied, leading to the demand for an apology. Ruirika stated that they are not intimidated by the chaos. She said they have been asking and requiring these members to provide this report. Councillors representing Kampala's 5 divisions expressed views on the incident, blaming the City Executive Committee for causing chaos in the chambers. They remained firm in their demand, insisting on an apology to resume discussions on the related agenda. In response, the City Executive Committee complained that the delay is formulating and presenting the requested report will be worked on. However, they distanced themselves from the chaos. Deputy Mayor Doreen Nyanjura condemned the events, calling them absurd. The awaited report was intended to outline a strategy for tackling the garbage problem in the various parts of the city. All of these occurred in the absence of the Lord Mayor and his deputy in the chambers.
Now moving on to international news, Donald Trump has praised an amazing woman motorist who he said tailed an alleged gunman as he made his getaway after an apparent assassination attempt on the former president on Sunday, leading to a speedy arrest. In his first public appearance since the incident, the Republican presidential candidate told a crowd that the unnamed civilian saw something in this guy that was bad. She spotted the suspect running to his car and became suspicious, so followed him in her own vehicle and took pictures of his license plate, Trump said. Ryan Wesley Routh, aged 58, was arrested in an SUV less than an hour after he allegedly fled Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. Trump shared the account on Tuesday night at a town hall-style event in Flint, Michigan, with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his former press secretary and now governor of Arkansas. Now moving on, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail after pleading not guilty in a sex trafficking case. A New York federal judge remanded the musician in custody after prosecutors argued he was a serious flight risk. Mr. Combs, 54, was arrested on Monday evening, accused of running a criminal enterprise from at least 2008 that relied on drugs and violence to force women to fulfill his sexual desires, according to prosecutors. A 14-page indictment charges him with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted on all three accounts, the rapper and record producer faces a sentence of 15 years up to life in prison. He was wearing a black t-shirt and grey sweatpants during Tuesday's court appearance in Manhattan. Asked by U.S. Magistrate Judge Robin Tafoski how he wished to plead, Mr. Combs stood up and said, quote unquote, not guilty. Now coming back to Africa, police in Namibia are investigating the death of 4 children who are playing in an empty old freezer in the northeastern Zambezi region. Aged between 3 and 6, the children were found inside the unused deep freezer in the densely populated area of the town of Katima Mulilo on Monday afternoon. The police believe the children were accidentally trapped while playing and suffocated inside, but investigations are underway. Of the 4 children, 2 suffocated to death in the fridge, while 2 others died in the hospital while receiving treatment, the public broadcaster reported. When I came in, I saw paramedics attending to my daughter and another girl. They rushed them to the hospital while the other 2 were loaded in police mortuary vehicles. Aranjes Shoro, one of the fathers, told privately owned the Namibian newspaper. There was a hook on the freezer that could only be opened from the outside. Zambezi Regional Police Commander Andreas Shilelo is quoted by the AFP news agency as saying, well, that's sad news, and we hope that the Lord strengthens the families. But now we launch into the press review with Jerome Paul.
Oh, with our press review, we start off with the New Vision because in regards to the government mergers, plan out for staff recruitment. According to the New Vision, there is details in regards to employees from 21 agencies to sit for interviews starting next week. And then also NSSF experts predict higher interest rate for members as half of boarding schools below standards, according to a new report. Find the details in the New Vision. Then the Attorney General speaks out on Bunyoro Kingdom dispute. Find details as well. Now at the front page, the Karuma Bridge is set to be closed for 3 months. At the front page, you can see the Minister of Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, with officials and engineers underneath the dilapidated Karuma Bridge yesterday. Now, Katumba later announced the closure of the bridge to all traffic starting next Monday for a period of 90 days, which is 3 months in there. Now also, in magazine Inside, there's a total magazine for the parents and their children as KCCA councillors fight over garbage report, a story that is well detailed in the New Vision today. Then matters dealing with the Katanga trial, outdated software used for DNA samples, according to a new report and new findings. Now, off to the Daily Monitor. NSSF savers to get over 10% interest. This is following the higher interest. National Social Security Fund Managing Director Patrick Ayota is bullish about savers reaping impressive returns on their investments thanks to the fund's remarkable growth last financial year. And also, please do note in the business app that we shall be looking into the NSSF assets growing by about 19.2% to 22.13 trillion Ugandan shillings, with the assets under the fund's management being up to standard. Now, also in matters the press review, trash in the city, KCCA councillors take garbage fight in own hands. Why is that so far? In details in here. And then in the homes perspective, when you have to pick between a standalone house and a condominium. Also, other stories. Confirmed Mpox case puts Nakaseke health officials on the edge as Uganda makes strides in packed with water body. That is in the Daily Monitor. Then also there is a report regarding the new routes to north as Karuma closes for fresh works on the bridge. We now turn our focus to Kenya because the Daily Nation is highlighting what do they know about Adani deals. There are three faces at the front page. President William Ruto has said he would be a madman to sell Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Now the sports CS Chipchumba Murkomen revealed he was in the transport docket when Adani Jomo Kenyatta International Airport deal was brokered. And then the transport CS Davis Chichi, he was in energy when Adani power deals were entered into, according to more findings. Now there is a controversy because the president said Kenya needed to keep up with its regional competitors who have built bigger and modern airports. Then Nyongo whips ODM members to back Ruto government as baptism of fire awaits Kanja if members of parliament approve his nomination as police boss. Then Jambo Bwana hit composer Ted Kalanda Harrison has passed on at the age of 72. As in matters education, lecturers strike. The lecturers' strike is on as talk fails to unlock stalemate. But before we even cross to Tanzania, there is something about Mombasa because machete wielding gangs are continuing to terrorize Mombasa residents. A new report shows that the machete wielding gangs riding on motorcycles pounce on their victims to steal and maim those who resist. And the youth who appear to be below the age of 25 pose as couriers as they target their unsuspecting victims on busy streets. That is a development coming in from Kenya. And well, that does it for our press review this morning.
Well, thank you, Joram. Now, as we get into our inspiration song of the day, I would like for us, and I'm sending this message to all the men in this room, but also men out there, especially the rich and powerful. As the case of P. Diddy is unfolding, I believe that many stories and a lot of evidence is going to come to the fore. Now, he's still innocent until proven guilty, but in the event that he's found guilty, I need men to reflect on power and authority and money and how they use it against those that are weaker than them, especially the women in their lives. Now we move on, and I'll leave you with Vinka, Thank God. For reasons best known to me, I dedicate it to Jerome Paul Sonko.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Who engaged in, I wouldn't want to call it a fist fight, but there is footage showing some of the councillors holding chairs trying to throw at each other. If you are to remember the days of the Toji Kwatako in Parliament, it was kind of a similar situation because chaos was erupting at Kampala City Council, and the reason behind it was there is a report that was supposed to be brought back
Jerome,
by...
as you're giving us the updates,
yes,
we can see the action taking place.
So that
It's
committee,
like...
which is the City Executive Committee, is chaired by the Lord Mayor.
Yes.
That is Arias Lukwago. and they failed to apologize for not presenting a report on solid waste management in the city. And when you look at everything, you can easily see that the councillors were not happy because they expected that this report has to provide an extensive strategy on how to address this growing chaos that we have in waste management in Kampala. And besides that, today being the 18th of September, and you've mentioned something to do with women.
Yes.
Today the United Nations celebrates the International Equal Pay Day. And this particular one looks at ensuring that people are paid the same amount of money if at all they are doing the same work or they are rendering out the same service. Of course, it has not been easy to work out or to regulate, especially in the private sector, but the UN is making different strides towards that. Though there is a worrying report that there is some imbalance in payment. 20% globally of the women in the working force are paid lesser than the men.
20%?
Even when, yeah, 20% globally. This is not even an African thing, but in the entire world.
Wow.
So there is that disparity
Yes.
in regards to how much they earn, and it's something the UN is also working towards to ensure that, at least in the years to come, women can as well be paid equally to their male counterparts, especially if at all they are rendering the same service or doing the same jobs.
Well, Sonko, thank you for that update. And my comment on that is that in as much as I am a woman and I hear where we are coming from, there is also discourse on certain fields, let's say football, where female footballers are earning way less than their male counterparts. But then the argument is, look at these games, let's say the Premier League, and see how much money male football brings in vis-a-vis how much money the women bring in. So whoever brings in more is the one who is getting more money. But when it comes to other sectors, there needs to be a conversation. But now let's delve into the news. I don't know why Chirabo is very excited.
Olive? Okay.
Let's go into
the news. Time is not on our side. Now, before announcing the close of the Karuma Bridge, Minister of Works and Transport, Gino Katumba Wamala, was taken under the bridge to assess the level of damage at the bridge. He announced the closure of the bridge. Government contracted China Railway 7 and National Enterprise Corporation of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, to repair the bridge that connects the north to central Uganda and will cost over 7 billion Uganda shillings to repair. Also, government has provided a second ferry at Masindi Port to ease the movement from northern Uganda to central. Local traders around Karuma Bridge appeal to government to provide speed motorboats to move goods from Karuma Trading Center to Kamadin Trading Center. Meanwhile, the transporters are wondering whether the ferry service will be
Well, the Minister of Transport and the Minister of Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, did announce yesterday that Karuma Bridge is going to be closed for the next 3 months as the Uganda National Roads Authority works on it after an assessment of the damage that is within the bridge. Now, the bridge is quite old. It's one of the pivotal places in Uganda's transport industry, and would like to know how important the bridge is, but also what's the way forward now that the bridge is going to be closed for 3 months. How are Ugandans plying that route going to manage? What other diversion routes can they use, and how far are they? Now, to answer these questions, we have Alan Sempewa on the phone to answer and also clarify on certain issues that probably have been raised by many Ugandans that use this route. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am alongside Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Mr. Alan Sempewa, you're most welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Olive and Chirabo. Good to be here with you.
Amazing. Now, I would like to just get with it and please give us a brief history of Karuma Bridge, its importance and its role in the connecting of northern Uganda and central to the rest of the country.
All right. Thank you very much again, Olive.
Yes.
Karuma Bridge, first of all, was built in the 1963. And we know that it's a connection from, connecting us, the central region, to the north, but also the West Nile. Again, to our neighbors, Dr. Congo and Southern Sudan. So you can see that it's not only a critical national link, but also an international trade link. So therefore, anything that happens at Karuma has a wide-reaching effect. Even its closure alone, we know, has capacity to, paralyze the country, but also cut off, this very important trade route between Uganda and its neighboring countries like Congo and Southern Sudan. And this is why we told you of efforts to try and establish its, strength, its reliability, to see if it can actually still go without causing any transport constraints along that route. We undertook a diagnostic study to try and establish its integrity, and this came to the results that we had, indicating that the components of the bridge were starting to wear out, were porous, were defective, and as such, we needed to address these structural defects before we have any transport constraints. I'm avoiding to use the word calamity, but to avoid any incident at that crossing. So we undertook a proactive mission to establish the bridge strength and undertake the needed intervention.
Now, Mr. Sempewa, this bridge was constructed 60 years ago, as you put it, and it was supposed to serve for only 50 years. So why wasn't it upgraded sooner before we experienced the damage that you found during your assessment?
Olivia, we, as a country, we've had a number of infrastructure developments that we've undertaken on our national road network. Karuma is not exclusive. You may recall that we did just recently build a new bridge along the Nile. That is the source of the Nile bridge in Jinja, which, by the way, could take us for some time, but government undertook to. Again, after studies, we realized that the bridge was aging, and we needed to come up with a new structure, which was built. We have another structure along the Nile again, in Para, which is also crossing to Pakwach. Karuma, again, is another example of the bridges that we're going to replace. Much as we know it can actually serve us for some few years, we have a program as government of Uganda. There's a program to put a new bridge at Karuma. We're already engaging the potential funders. This is the Japanese government through their financial arm, JICA. Discussions are ongoing to ensure that we have a suitable, environmentally sustainable structure along that crossing. So yes, the discussion, the plans are already in place, and it's a matter of time that a new bridge will be put at Karuma. But what we have right now, we're saying for it to be able to continue serving us, we can only, rehabilitate it, and then it will give it a new shelf life to be able to take us for a few years until we have a new bridge built at that section, at that area.
Okay, now in my understanding, General Katumba Wamala did cite some cracks, and he cited cracks and worn out expansion joints as some of the key issues as to why the bridge had to be closed. Is there anything else?
Yes, generally those are what we call structural defects, because our assessment, like I told you, that we held, confirmed and established extensive damage on the bridge that required the full deck replacement and other critical repairs. So we established the deck slab had exposed reinforcement bars, you know, seemingly out. In fact, in one of those pictures, you could see that these bars are actually out and already exposed. The deck also was established to be defective, weak, but also cracked. And as such, we know that that can't be a safe crossing deck. This is why we are undertaking the exercise now to replace the entire deck. This is where we are closing the bridge for a period of 3 months, or even less, should everything go as planned. What we've been doing in the last few months was trying to work underneath. So our teams were working underneath to replace those bearings, the defective bars underneath the bridge. Now is the time to also replace the concrete deck, because as I've shared with you, we established that the bridges, that the deck, the concrete deck is what actually we drive on, the surface that we see on the top. Now we established that it was weak, beginning to crack, so we now have to replace it. So on Monday, 23rd, by 7 a.m., we shall not be having traffic on this bridge. Now, to enable our engineers and the contractors demolish that concrete deck and then start the process or commence the exercise of restoring a new one along that crossing at Karuma.
Now, Alan, thank you so much for being with us. But what is very of a concern to many Ugandans?
Oh yes, that's the picture I was talking about. The exposed bars. You know, I've just watched it.
Yes. Now, Alan, the concern of the public is the alternative routes, because yes, it is closed. The public has not much they can do, but their interest is, now that the bridge is going to be closed, let's look at the alternative routes and what you've put in place for them. Is it the best you could get, or that could be put in place?
Robert, that is an interesting question. Thankfully, we have alternatives on our road network, and when we have a situation like this, where we need to safely have our people have alternatives, we find ourselves with available alternatives, thankfully. One of them is we're telling motorists coming from Kampala and heading to Gulu,
yes,
or even further to the West Nile, to use the Kafu-Masindi road that goes through the Makshan Falls National Park to connect to Pakwach, further to Pakwach on the left-hand side, or right to Gulu via Orio and proceed to Gulu. This is a very good connection, already paved. The section from the turn-off on the Kampala-Gulu road, the turn-off at Masindi through the park. We know the condition of that road. We know that road has been built recently. It's a paved road of high standard, quality structure, and it's motorable. So we have no problems on that road. We also now have told motorists of another alternative. That is the Renkunye Apache route. When you're using the Kampala-Gulu highway, you can branch up at Chigumba or Renkunye, drive for about 5 kilometers, and use the Masindi Port ferry. Now that ferry, we've had a smaller existing ferry that connects you to Apache, the other side of Apache, that is the Lango sub-region. And from there you can proceed to Lira. We also know that from Lira you can connect to the Acholi sub-region, that is Kitgum. We are also adding a second ferry on this crossing to try and offer more relief to the crossing travelers. So you can see that we are providing for better alternatives again, even along the ferry crossing.
Now, on those routes,
yes,
the first you've talked about, they raise two concerns. The ferry. This has been a very busy route, because most of people, traders are taking goods to DRC. You have people who are also moving to South Sudan and the entire West Nile. Now, is the ferry going to be working at night? That is one, regarding the ferry. Now, when it comes to the park, the security, I've used the park sometimes, and one time I even had a breakdown of a vehicle which we were traveling in. So have we discussed with security? Here we're talking about wildlife that moves anytime, most of it at night. So let's look at security and the ferry working at night.
Thank you very much. About the park, I think we're concerned about the security in there, but we know that we have, at a time like this, we shall see rather heightened measures, but also safety protocols, including on speed and movement during a time like this. So together with our colleagues, the Uganda Wildlife Authority, we know that we're going to have enhanced monitoring and along this road. It's also important that actually we knowing that we are crossing through a park. It's also important for us travelers to, plan our journeys ahead of time and avoid any altercations with maybe the animals. But we know that we've been able to safely use that road. And again, during I think the park also has crossing times, and beyond which you can hardly continue to cross through the park. So we may have to adhere to the safety protocols, because this is intended to ensure, again, safety of us, the travelers. But also let's remember that with this happening at Karuma, the closure of Karuma, the objective or our target again is to ensure safety of road users. So that remains the highest priority, and the minister did mention there yesterday that let's not politicize this development. Let's support it, because it's for our own good, for our own safety. Because imagine actually we had to wait for a catastrophe and then we ran in. It would have been a different story. So I think we could give it up to government for being proactive, for acknowledging the safety concern and taking the action that is now ongoing, and even providing funding, because the government of Uganda has provided funding for the rehabilitation of this bridge way before we actually have a catastrophe at this crossing. So about the Masindi Port Ferry, we've provided for another ferry, which by Monday we know it will be ready to sail travelers. It's a bigger capacity ferry. We'll be taking more vehicles and more passengers. We normally do not wish to cross in the night, but whenever we have more traffic still, coming in or trickling in, we are able to cross them across. So, but also for safety reasons, we avoid crossing at night, and we will be operating case by case, depending on the situation of ground, try and ensure that there is no paralysis or connectivity constraints during this period.
Now,
as we work
Mr. Sempewa,
to rehabilitate the project of bridge.
Mr. Sempewa, is there any arrangement any arrangements that have been made with maybe bus companies to ensure that probably the buses leave town at a given time to avoid late night crossings?
Arrangements, I think now, like I indicated earlier, it's now on us, the traveling public, to plan our journeys ahead of time. To try to know the condition of the road network, to know the various intricacies along these alternatives, and plan our journeys ahead of time. Because if you know that the park is going to be closed at this period of time, I think you plan better to be out of the park, or to be running through that alternative before that closure time. So now I think it's on us. They have been using it before, as you already know. We had closed the bridge earlier on to heavy goods vehicles, including the buses. So it's a situation they're now well familiar with, and I'm certainly sure they'll be able to adjust.
All right. Now, the traders around Karuma Bridge have appealed to the government to provide them with speedboats to enable them transport their goods from Karuma Trading Center to Kamdin Trading Center. Is there any arrangement for that, or something coming soon?
Oh dear. Those speedboats across those really bubbling waters of the Nile may be quite risky.
Okay.
But I know that there's an arrangement to provide for their crossing through an alternative crossing that was put up during the construction of the Karuma Dam. On the other side, on the right-hand side, as you're heading to Gulu, for their safer crossing, but not heavy vehicles, but for really light, very light traffic, including pedestrians.
Okay.
Now, Alan, you've talked about these routes. These may be common routes to people who have been doing business in Karuma. I mean, crossing Karuma frequent, but to people who have not and maybe will be traveling for the first or second time, have you provided anything like signages, indications that when you take this route, you go over this, or is it just an assumption that people actually know these routes? One may move at night, and really you just end up making a dead end, and for security purposes, maybe even landing in people with criminal minds. So is there anything like maybe road furniture that has been put in place, or something to indicate that really these are the alternative routes?
Robert, you're spot on right there. We're going to use this period before the closure on Monday to, in fact, place road messages. Because we can send through this information to various fora, but if we don't communicate on the road, it will be in vain. So the contractor has indeed been devised and instructed to place messages. In fact, the minister hinted on it yesterday, instructing the contractor to place messages at these alternatives, at all the diversions. So as you're using the Ruwero, rather the Kampala Gulu Highway, you know that when you reach Kafu, we'll be now diverting you now. That signage should actually be visible in that area. So this is going to be done as well, Robert.
Now, we know that we are having our UPDF engineering brigade do that under a company from China. And we've had UNRA that have been looking at the making temporary repairs. Now, our question here is, do we lack the capacity? Do we lack the machinery to handle this as Ugandans independently? 7 billion is quite a lot of money, and we seem to be like subcontractors here.
Robert, the process to get a contractor was a competitive process, and we're looking for companies with that competence, with the equipment, with the staffing, to try and do the kind of job that has to be done at Karuma. We're not working on any ordinary crossing or a road or we're looking at Karuma, a bridge. So this also requires for some level of competence and experience, and this is why we actually tendered out this, and it was competitive. We had contractors come in, and some fell out. So we zeroed on these two contractors because they exhibited competence. But at the end of the day, the people doing the work there, just in new pictures there, you're able to see that these were Ugandans actually. You didn't see Chinese. Yes, we have them, but this particular case, I was under the bridge there. I didn't actually find Chinese. It was Ugandan draped in safety jackets doing the work. They've been doing the platform work that was used to now, put the bearings and the bolts and the nuts. What else? But also for inspection, that platform that they put underneath. That's why you see that the minister and the team were able now to go under the bridge and do further inspection. This was done by Ugandans at the end of the day. So we are building capacity for Ugandans, and we are telling the contractors that even as they come to work on our project, they subcontract from our local contractors for over. There is a reserve scheme for over 30% local subcontracting, that we can build capacity for our local contractors, and we have them. For example, in maintenance of our roads, we have over 90% of contractors being local contractors. So, and on other bigger projects, we have them subcontracted up to about 30%. So that's the reservation that we have for them in our project.
Okay. Then finally from me, Are you in position to assure Ugandans that this work will take 3 months? Because the inconveniences being caused, the extra costs incurred, and also there could be a bit of security issues moving through the park. Though we say it's a walk in the park, but it may not necessarily be a drive in the park. Yes.
Yes, we did say that the bridge will be closed for approximately 3 months. We appreciate and understand that the closure will be inconvenient,
Yes.
but it's essential for the long-term safety, and functionality of this asset, the bridge at Karuma. And we know that these works will, significantly enhance the bridge safety and performance for future use. So there's work to do, there's work at hand to do, but we also appreciate the convenience it's going to cause to our traveling public, and we know that we're up to the job. We want to do the job, and we've given ourselves a target. We want this to be a Christmas gift, and we don't even want to extend beyond the 20th. We know we want Ugandans to be able to cross before Christmas.
Now,
this is the target we have on our head, and we will work for that target.
All right, Mr. Sempewa, we will hold your word against you if by Christmas we do not have that bridge opened.
Please support us. Support us. Don't hold word.
No, you have said it on national TV that it's a Christmas gift, so we are waiting.
Yes.
All right.
That is our target. Before doing anything, you know that you should have a target, and we're working with that target. We know that within the 3 months or even less, we shall have demolished. First of all, we're demolishing the deck on Monday.
Okay.
And then we'll start the formwork. Then we'll start the laying of the concrete, then the asphalt, then the other safety measures on the bridge.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Alan Sempewa. We've been discussing the closure of Karuma Bridge. It was closed yesterday, and the Minister of Works and Transport did mention that the bridge will be closed for the next 3 months, and as Mr. Alan Sempewa, the UNRA spokesperson, has put it, they are giving us a Christmas gift. So we wait with bated breath and hope that the works will be done before the end of December. You're still watching Good Morning Uganda. Thank you for sticking with us, and we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcast.
Live from UBC Studios.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go low.
You Can Now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Semliki National Park is one of those beautiful games that are not given a lot of attention. Yet amidst the beautiful tree species that we have here, the number of primate species that we have here, some that are even endangered to this national park. When you talk about the landscapes are immensely beautiful, but the park has not been given attention as that it deserves. So today we explore the beautiful games that are in this national park. However, one of the commonest highlights of this destination has been the Empire Hot Springs. This is a starter destination. Almost everyone who has thought about exploring Uganda, every tourist has thought about traveling around Uganda. This has been one of the commonest attractions that they've been to. However, they've not even gone to other places or known what is really happening in this place. But we take you through the Empire Hot Springs and basically the male hot springs, because these hot springs are very gender sensitive. There is the female and also the male hot spring, and there is a very beautiful cultural story behind these hot springs that you need. I mean, it's the geographical formations that we have, the volcanicity, the fault lines, faulting. There are also a cultural story that is very beautiful that you need to listen. This is the GM Tourism Express with Irene Namisang, and we take you through Semliki Valley National Park.
So welcome to the male hot springs. Yeah, where that the Empire Hot Springs exists into male and female. It is gender sensitive, and at this location is the site for the male hot springs. And now what's interesting that male hot spring is in a pool like Crater Lake, where water constantly boils. And I can assure you it is the hottest environment around the hot springs. The highest temperature ever recorded here went up to 106 degrees Celsius. These temperatures vary, 106 degrees Celsius. And that is very, very hot. And that's why you see here, we realize that the female hot springs will allow people to, freely boil food. It's easier for people to interact more at the other side. Here you can't boil the food, because accessing the spring water means that you walk on this small layer. I can assure you don't get deceived that that layer you are seeing is very strong. It forms as the water comes from the ground with a lot of minerals and continues cooling down, forming that layer. So that means that it is deceptive. If you walk on it and your weight is, you are heavy, that small layer breaks, because it is just mere calcium phosphate. So it will break down and then you will end up getting burnt. So always when you're near hot springs, take a lot of caution. Two, there's a lot of algae. You see shades of different colors, green, brown, yellow, and the like. that is very slippery. Always avoid stepping there because you'll slide and you get burnt. So at the male hot springs, we only enjoy viewing, taking photographs, but we do not boil food here. But then you see that white stuff? What do you think it could be? This is salt trying to accumulate. Real salt, because the water from the hot springs is highly mineralized, and one of the minerals there is sodium chloride. That is the real typical salt. And once you pick it, you test it. We'll do this at the female hot springs where we are able to access it. For Ugandans who have not been here, this site for the male hot springs. The hot springs are gender sensitive, they're both female and male. But where we are is the male hot springs. The reasons why, the stories here are legendary, that we have one clan called the Bamaga. The Bamaga are close to Bamaga campsite. It's the only community that is near the park here in Sempaya. And these guys believe that this site is for the ancestors. How did it come? There was a lady and a group of females who had gone collecting firewood in the neighborhood. Now, when they were collecting firewood, they reported a person they saw, a male, who was moving in a zigzag form in the forest. They couldn't know why. And then what they did, they went and they reported home and said, we have found a person who we could not identify. Now, when their men came, their husbands, indeed they found a guy who they couldn't identify in the forest and is moving in a funny way. So they talked to him and he took him home. They gave him accommodation, gave him food, and he stayed with them. They got to learn that this man was a hunter, and then he continued with his hunting spree all the time. Unfortunately, in one day, this guy never returned back home. They waited and waited, they couldn't find this man, couldn't come back. So what happened, people decided to go for a search. And when the Bamaga moved around and searched the area, they couldn't find the guy. They moved again a second day, moved. What happened that in this area here, they found his spear. And they found some of the rags, the clothes he used to put on. And they went and informed the wife and said, we found the remains, parts of the husband, the clothes, and then the spear he uses for hunting. And then those guys felt this should be the place where this man has disappeared from. And because there was an associated feature here, they said this is a male hot spring where the male disappeared from. Now, in the same vein, as they looked for this man, of course the wife was also involved. And before they named this, they looked around when the lady was still looking for the husband couldn't be seen at that time. And then, unfortunately, we don't know what happened at the time. The lady also, they found her remains, parts of her bodies, and the piece of the stick, and her clothes on the other side, alone. So when these guys sat, they said, maybe our ancestors have taken these guys. And therefore, where the lady has disappeared from, they named it a female hot spring, and where the man disappeared from, they named it a male hot spring.
Well, good morning and welcome aboard to Good Morning Uganda Business. I am Jerome Paul Sonko and glad to have your company this Wednesday morning. I have business reports gathered for you as well. So let's dive into it, and we start off with matters NSSF, because the NSSF performance report for the financial year 2023-2024 was released, and more of the same from NSSF have revealed that the earnings grew by 16%, increasing from 2.3 trillion Ugandan shillings for the financial year ending June 30th, 2024. The fund attributed the robust growth to increased interest income, dividend income, and real estate income. Now, the NSSF performance report for the 2023-2024 comes ahead of the much anticipated annual members meeting, which will be held on the 27th of September 2024. And thanks to this robust performance, the savers can now look forward to a very competitive interest rate, which will be declared by the Finance Minister, Honorable Matia Kasaija. Now, Patrick Ayota, the NSSF Managing Director, revealed that the fund's assets, the assets under management, increased by 19.2%, rising from 18.56 trillion Ugandan shillings in the financial year 2022-2023 to 22.13 trillion in the just concluded financial year of 2023-2024. Now, the fund also saw a significant rise in member contributions, which grew by 12.2%, as well as that is from 1.72 Ugandan shillings, that is 1.72 trillion Ugandan shillings in 2022-2023 to 1.93 trillion Ugandan shillings in the current financial year. Now, NSSF's impressive performance reflects an improvement in an overall investment environment in Uganda and across East Africa. Now, beyond revenue growth, the fund excelled in other key performance indicators, including an increase in benefits paid and enhanced cost management. However, according to the managing director, like I did mention, is that there is something to do with more work which needs to be done in the area of estate management, or the estate management projects in there. All right, and now that mentioned, we now turn our focus to Kamuli district, because the Poverty Alleviation Department was in Kamuli, and the project that is abbreviated as PAD supported the farmers of Bulamuti sub-county in Kamuli district with agricultural inputs. Now, the Poverty Alleviation Department, which is of State House, supported the farmers within Kamuli district. To be more precise, in the Bulamuti sub-county, the farm inputs were handed over by the Presidential Secretary in the Poverty Alleviation Department, that is Lydia Balemezi, who advised beneficiaries not to sell off these inputs. Now, the residents of Bulamuti in Kamuli district have received an assortment of these agricultural inputs, and they received 30 cows, over 100 goats, there were coffee seedlings, and even chairs amongst the things that they received. Also, when you look at the Presidential Secretary from the Poverty Alleviation Department, Lydia Balemezi, who further explained the selecting criteria of the beneficiaries, she further condemned people who misuse the inputs and advised them to put in more of their efforts to ensure that they get more profits. But that said, the coordinator in Bulamuti, Charles Mugabe, warned beneficiaries not to sell off their properties, rather off these inputs. The head of communications in the Poverty Alleviation Department of State House, that is Haj Sulaiman Walusimbi, appealed to people of Kamuli to continue supporting the government of President Museveni. And when you look at some of the beneficiaries are anticipating that with these inputs of around 30 cows, over 100 goats, and 1,000 seedlings that were distributed to them, they expect that at least it will be a change for their livelihood incomes in the long run. And now, away from that, we turn our eyes to the international scene, because what is coming in from there, from the International Federation of Journalists, since today is the International Equal Pay Day, by a day that is recognized globally. Now, according to the International Federation of Journalists, global gender pay in journalism needs to be addressed moving forward. Now, while the gender pay globally approaches 20%, the women in journalism are no exception, and according to new details, they are consistently paid less than their male counterparts. Now, to mark the World Equal Pay Day 2024, which is today on the 18th of September, the International Federation of Journalists and the Media Diversity Institutes have called on governments to implement legislation closing the gender pay gap in journalism and for the media industry, to adopt the concrete policies to eradicate wage discrimination. Now, in an era where journalism plays a crucial role in upholding democracy and advocating for equality, as well as public's right to know, women journalists around the world are facing a troubling reality. Now, despite representing a significant portion of the journalism workforce, they are consistently paid less than their male counterparts. This inequality is undermining not only the rights of women in the workforce, but also the credibility and ethical standards of the profession at large, and also undermining the element of equality world over. Now, a multitude of studies, including reports from industry watchdogs, as well as labor organizations and academic institutions, have further revealed that the gender pay gap in journalism spans across all continents and media organizations and the beats. Now, in Brazil, for example, the women journalists employed under a work contract earn on average 5.7% less than men for the same work. Now, the difference increases even in the higher positions. In case of the editors-in-chief, for example, women earn 41.3% less than the men in that position. Then the figures from a survey commissioned by the female, by FENAJ, in the UK, the BBC's 2023 gender pay gap report revealed an increase, taking the gap to its highest level since 2018. But that said, in France, a study conducted from 2010 until 2021 revealed that more women are hired for short-term contracts than the male, because that is about 18% of the women in journalism, while 10% is for men. Now, and further away in Australia, a publication dated 2024 revealed the best salary pay gap across the media and the advertising landscape is 14.5%, which is between men and women, while the gap leaped to 19% once those executive bonuses and the like were thrown into the equation. Now, across sectors in the European Union, in 2022, women's gross hourly earnings were on average of 12.7% below those of the men. Now, looking at the global figure, which is estimated at 20%, according to the International Labour Organization 2023 global report. This is indicated that women earn on average 80% of what men earn, and at the current rate, it will take at least 2086 to achieve wage equality worldwide. This is according to estimates by the International Labour Organization. Now, in journalism, one of the reasons for this pay disparity is the poor presence of women in senior, highly paid positions, and a Reuters Institute report 2024 revealed that the percentage of women in top editorial positions varies significantly from market to market, from 0% in Japan to 43% in the United States. Well, away from that, we now turn our focus onto the forex market to see how different currencies are faring on the exchange. This is courtesy of the central bank, and how the Ugandan shilling was faring against the other currencies. Opening time yesterday, the US dollar was buying at 3,710.55 shillings, while selling at 3,720.55 Ugandan shillings. And by midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,710.18, while selling at 3,720.18 shillings. And by closing time, the US dollar was buying at 3,711.05 shillings, while selling at 3,721.05. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,908.16, while the selling was at 4,914.76. The euro was buying at 4,130.03, while selling at 4,141.16. And the Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.77 shillings, while selling at 28.85 shillings. And the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.36 shillings, while selling at 1.37 shillings. Now, lastly, the South African rand was buying at 210.59 shillings, while selling at 211.16 shillings. These exchange rates are updated 3 times daily. Those figures are from the central bank. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. I'll be back tomorrow with more business updates here on Good Morning Uganda. That means Good Morning Uganda continues. But for now, Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates. Good morning.
It's time for our traffic updates. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, today we go to the side of Gaba Road. Right now we are in Bunga and the situation there doesn't look good at all. There is traffic jam. It has already started. Today is Wednesday, first week of school, so I understand why there is traffic jam alongside this road. Now, from many areas, I see that the main Gaba Road has intense traffic jam for those coming to town. Those going Gaba Road side, you are in luck. There is smooth flow of traffic. Now, where Chibale Road connects to Gaba Road and where Konge Road also connects to Gaba Road, there is intense traffic and there are different phases of traffic jam along the road. Where Kansanga Chuafu Road also connects to Gaba Road, I see that traffic jam is starting to build. And yes, indeed, later on the same road, you are going to experience intense traffic jam. Now, those that are using Soweto Road to connect to the main Gaba Road, you should know that Soweto Road is also feeding some good traffic jam into the main Gaba Road, as you can see. But going forward still with Gaba Road, Mitala Road has a smooth flow of traffic. So if that's where you're coming from, you will not be encumbered at all. You will be able to move smoothly up to the main Gaba Road. And now continuing with the same, I see that along the Gaba Road we get some bit of reprieve. We encounter smooth flow of traffic. Church Road is clear and John Chiinji Road is also clear. Continuing with the same, as we reach Diplomat Road, I see that we have smooth flow of traffic in this juncture as well. So the traffic jam has actually eased up, but don't be fast in being excited, because I see up ahead Senyonga Road bringing in a little bit of traffic jam, and then there is traffic jam coming in from Zambia Estate Road connecting to the main Gaba Road. But where we are now, the main Gaba Road is very clear. There is smooth flow of traffic. Now, as it connects to Zambia Road and Mukwano Road, I see that we have smooth flow of traffic. Now, when we decide to follow the Mukwano Road, I see that we still have smooth flow of traffic. But then where Press House Road connects to Mukwano Road, we start experiencing intense traffic jam. And then around that roundabout that connects to 8th Street, 7th Street and Access Road, you will encounter traffic jam in this area. So depending on which of these streets you're coming from, I see that 6th Street has smooth flow of traffic, 8th Street as well, and 7th Street also has smooth flow of traffic. Now, continuing to that Ginger Road lights, we have some bit of traffic jam coming in from Access Road, but majorly the traffic jam I see is coming in from the side of the Kampala Ginger Highway, especially around the roundabout at Ginger Road. There is a bit of traffic here on both end lanes of the road. That is the people going to the side of Ginger Road and those that are trying to access the city center. I also see traffic jam coming through from Wampeo Avenue, and this is quite a long stretch along Wampeo Avenue. So you will find, if that's the feeder road you are contemplating on using right now, it could be a detriment to your journey today. Now, following the route through Yusufulule, I see that there is traffic jam coming through from Yusufulule side, going the side of Ginger Road. So I think there here trying to access the lights side. But now looking at Nile Avenue from this roundabout that connects you to Yusufulay, I see that we have smooth flow of traffic, a bit of traffic right outside UBC, but after that Nile Avenue is very clear. So depending on where you're going, that's what the traffic situation looks like, especially for the people that are coming to town from the ends of Gaba Road, especially Bunga and Buziga. I've seen immense traffic jam on your route, but the good news is in Zambia, there is smooth flow of traffic up until when you come to town. There, you will be able to maneuver. Well, I'm Olive, and you're watching Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Max Media Promotion presents Omukwano Chechi Concert, taking place on the 27th of September 2024 at Tavern Woods, Kabusu. There will be exciting performances from Message Semakula, Jofre Lutaya, Winnie Nwaji, Kabuya Semboga, Queen Florence, and Olisha M. Entrance is only 20k ordinary, 50k VIP, and a table at 500,000. For bookings, call 0759 677 502 or 0785 310 00388. Come ready to dance the night away from 7 p.m. till late. Sponsored by UBC, Success Motors, Kampala City Grammar, and KT Sounds.
Are you tired of skipping breakfast because you're short on time in the morning? Well, we've got you.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butebo. UBC Butebo.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
How is my tie, Emma?
And the agenda, Robert Chirabo. Thank you so much for being with us since the hour of 6:30 till now. Now, in case you've just arrived in Uganda, welcome to the Pearl of Africa. You're watching the national broadcaster UBC TV, and we come to you every weekday from wherever you are, the comfort of your hotel room, wherever you go. It is UBC, because we make sure we bring what concerns and what is most important to Ugandans. Now, today we are going to be discussing something very important, and that is issues regarding cooperatives in our country. One of the models that the government is using under the wise leadership of our president is the cooperative model to fight or alleviate poverty amongst our people. And on Tuesday this week, cooperators will be meeting for their annual general meeting, but also their national consultative meeting, and this will be at Silver Springs, Bugorovi. Now, with me, I have officials from Uganda Cooperative Alliance, with whom we are going to be discussing what is going to be happening, why is it important, and also those that are supposed to attend. Because when you talk about the cooperative movement in Uganda, it's growing every day, mightier and mightier. Please join me welcome the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, the man I usually refer to as cooperatives, because for the last so many years, he's devoted himself to the cooperative movement. Ivan Asimwe, most welcome.
Thank you so much, moderator, Mr. Chirabo, and good morning, all our viewers. Ugandans, we love you. Thank you so much for always watching this program, because it's very critical that we really understand, we learn really knowing the role of cooperatives, not only in Uganda, but globally. Thank you.
Ivan, today you're so smart.
Very.
Very soon I'll come to your closet and do some shopping there. Very, very smart. And then at the extreme end, I have the person in charge of partnerships, Justin Kahinza. Hope I have it very well, but it is her name, and she's with us here still to discuss issues of cooperatives, but more so the upcoming two events, Tuesday and Wednesday. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. Good morning, our dear viewers. Indeed, we are here to talk to Ugandans and the cooperators across the country about our upcoming National Cooperative Consultative Meeting and the annual general meeting.
Well, she just didn't tell me I would have put on something Africa wear as well, but still I must say she's very, very smart. Now, thank you so much for being with us, and we want to go straight into actually what is going to transpire. But before we do that, Ivan, just paint a picture, help someone who could be maybe hearing of cooperatives for the very first time, or many who still think that maybe cooperatives ended in the old days they usually talk about, when we had agricultural cooperatives dominate the entire sector.
Thank you so much, moderator. Once again, my name is Ivan Asimwe, like you have mentioned. And before I start, cooperators join me to appreciate UBC for always giving us such an opportunity. You have really done it very well for the cooperators in this country. And by the way, it's not only Uganda, but globally. Even when I go out of the country, I hear people saying, you really have a nice TV that is promoting cooperatives in the country. Also allow me to appreciate the government of Uganda under the leadership, the excellent leadership of our president, General Yoweri Museveni, for also giving us the opportunity to cooperatives. And most importantly, the government adopting the cooperative model. We don't take it for granted, by the way. If the head of state clearly states that we are adopting a cooperative model, it's a very big statement. And as cooperators, as Ugandans, we need to take it up. And then build on this statement, build on the support of government, and make sure that we move this country together. Because, moderator, there is no way you can develop an economy like Uganda when people do not work together, when people do not love each other, when people don't consolidate their skills, knowledge, and resources in order to take a country forward. And this is exactly what Europeans have done. If you go to Europe, my God, I don't know why they don't teach us here. But back home, you go to Europe, go to France, the largest financial institution, financial cooperative in the world is in France. Even the second one is in France. You go to Germany. Germany is leading in terms of energy cooperatives. You go to South Korea. It is leading in agriculture and foods. That is in cooperatives. You go to Netherlands. You go to Norway. You go to Brazil. You go everywhere. Both America, Europe, Asia Pacific, they all adopted the cooperative model. Because the beauty with the cooperative model is that you bring people together. Once there is that cohesion, once there is that love, then people will transform the economy. But once you split them and they are all busy fighting each other, then they will be like grasshoppers that were fighting as the person was preparing firewood. So by the time they realized that actually we are about to be eaten, it was too late for them. So cooperatives bring people together. You are teachers, but you realize that one by one you cannot handle. You need to come together, mobilize your resources together, and form a bigger institution, even a bank. You go to Netherlands. How come that the Dutch have formed a very big financial institution, which is Rabobank Foundation, purely owned by farmers, with a net worth of 614 billion euros. It's a lot of money.
Basically, cooperatives help the people own their economy.
You come back here in Kenya, you see what is happening in Kenya. The Kenyan economy has moved very fast. Why? People are working together. Cooperatives in Kenya are very strong. The Cooperative Bank of Kenya loan is 607 billion Kenyan shillings. It's a lot of money.
Yes.
An equivalent of 17.6 trillion Ugandan shillings. This is a lot of money for Kenyans. You go to insurance in Kenya. Cooperative Insurance Company of Kenya is the largest in Africa. Can you imagine? So So when I say I'm very happy that the government adopted this model, it means that we know where we are heading. And for us to reach there, we need the cooperatives. And what are these cooperatives? Like you asked me, a cooperative is where, as the way we are seated here together, we see there is an opportunity. Maybe the market. How do we enter the market? Personally, Ivan Asimo, I can't go there. Maybe we have gotten a market for our meat in the UK. But as an individual, I can't reach that market. Yes. So we say now, since I have my goats, you have your goats, she has goats and other people. Can we consolidate all this so that we can penetrate the market and make money? That is cooperation. How do we make money? But if we don't do this, then a middleman will come. Instead of us making money as a group, the middleman will come and just cheat you because Ivan is not aware. When he has taken your goats, quietly he comes to Ivan, then he also cheats me. A goat of worth 300,000 is giving me 100,000. But this man takes the goats to the market and is making a lot of money. Yes. That is why I am still asking myself, how come that middlemen are very rich? They are constructing arcades, driving Land Cruisers, but the farmers are very poor. Just there, even to the extent you can't ride a bicycle. So who is supposed to be rich? Ideally, it should be the farmer, not the middleman, because you own your produce. However, you have not really thought deeply on how to control your produce. So ideally, a cooperative is an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their socio-economic, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned, it's yours, jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. Democratically means you elect your own leadership. You come together, elect your own board, elect your own supervisory committee, the vetting committee. And globally, cooperatives have really changed this world because over 1 billion people are members of cooperatives. And they started a long time ago in 1761 in Scotland, 14th of March. As the weavers were seated here, they realized, no, we cannot reach far. We need to come together. Let's come together and build our economy together. In 1844, Rochide also did the same. In 1913 in Uganda here, for farmers having realized the level of exploitation by the middlemen, they said enough is enough, we must cooperate. And that is where we see cooperatives begin from. And currently we have over 45,000 registered cooperatives in Uganda, serving over 18 million people. Over 90% of these people are smallholder farmers. So you can now see the value. Now when we talk about cooperatives in this country, you also asked me, when you talk about cooperatives, people say, but cooperatives died.
Because they were so used to the old agriculture-based cooperatives.
Very good. I want to inform Ugandans that cooperatives don't die. They just go to bed, they rest. After some time, they resurrect and continue. There's nobody who has died and resurrected, apart from Jesus. So, but cooperatives, for them, you will find them there. The other one was our store. After even 40 years, 50 years, they are telling you, the members, the other one was our building. Then after, they regroup, organize themselves, and tomorrow you find it's a very big union. You can't say it had died. It was just in sleep. So today, they have started exporting coffee. Bugis Cooperative Union, Wamara here. So that is how cooperatives move. And do you know why they don't die? It's because people love their thing. They have the passion and they know the benefits of cooperation in this country.
Well, what a detailed definition, and of course giving you both the history, the meaning, and also the benefits of cooperatives. Now allow me quickly move to Tuesday. And I want to ask Justin here, for our viewer, for the cooperators that may be asking exactly what is going to be happening. Yes. Take us through that.
Thank you so much, Chirabo. And I thank the General Secretary for giving that background to cooperatives. So as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, the apex body of all cooperatives in the country, we have planned a national cooperative consultative meeting and an annual general meeting for Uganda Cooperative Alliance's members. Uganda Cooperative Alliance's members are unions and area cooperative enterprises. But for the meeting of Tuesday, the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting, this comes in line with our principle number 5 on cooperative education, information sharing and sensitization. We are reaching out to our cooperators, to the partners, different stakeholders, cooperators, partners, people in academia. It's all inclusive, because we want to share with our cooperators, with our different stakeholders, what is happening in the sector. We want to give information of what is transpiring in the sector, and we want them to give in their views, because at the end of the day, this informs policy. So the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting will take place on Tuesday, 24th, at Silver Springs Hotel, Bugolobi. And this year we move under the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better Future for All. In this National Consultative Cooperative Meeting, we want to share with the different stakeholders, the different players in the cooperative arena. We want to see what are their views. For instance, as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we've carried out a capacity needs assessment. We want to share this information with the different stakeholders. We want them to see where the gaps are. We want to get their advice. We want to get their views into these gaps. How can we collectively address the gaps that have been highlighted in the capacity needs assessment report? This has been a collection, it has been done countrywide in all the regions of Uganda. Secondly, we are transiting from NDP 3 to NDP 4. So as the cooperative sector, how strategic are we positioning ourselves? What do we want to see? Yesterday's paper, Honorable Matia Kasaija, he talked about government using the cooperative model. When we talk about economic empowerment, we want to start at the grassroots. So government in its wisdom says that if we empower the grassroots persons through programs like PDM, Parish Development Model, and EMIOGA, that's one way of boosting the economy. And that still comes back to cooperatives. And Uganda Cooperative Alliance being that apex body, it's at such a time that we have to come in, because we do capacity building, we do arbitration, we do lobby and advocacy. There are issues of policy, for instance. The General Secretary usually talks about it, where we have multiple regulation for circles especially. These are the issues we want to engage our stakeholders. We want them to give their views. We want them to guide policy, come up with a policy paper which will inform government. There's a program also about, we've realized from the research that the youth and women are not fully engaged in the cooperative sector. We see a gap in there. And we've seen that gender inequality, of course, is an old phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. And women have struggled, whether in the political space, economic space. As Uganda Cooperative Alliance, this is where we are coming in. We are saying that we are moving under the spirit of the Sustainable Development Goals of leaving no one behind. And that's why we have come up, even one of our topics, we have invited the GROW, the department from Ministry of Gender, the GROW project. Yes, we want to show the women and youth that, look here, for us as cooperators, we work together. Our third principle is economic empowerment. We want to see that all categories of cooperators are economically empowered. So now that's why we even have a program we have on our program, one of our topics is that GROW project. How can the youth and women tap into such opportunities? Of course, I talked about the Parish Development Model. Yes, we need to see how better we bring it in the mainstream of the cooperative. So as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, these are some of the issues that we are going to talk about during that National Cooperative Consultative Meeting. And we call upon all dear cooperators, different stakeholders. The invitations have been sent, and you're even here. We thank you, BC, for this platform to reach out the different cooperators, because they are located nationally, whether in Gulu, in Kabale, Mbale, Busoga. So we invite all of you, please, let's come together, let's come and assess our sector, let's come and see the progress, how far we have moved, and we collectively share on how we can make the cooperative sector better in the country.
Well, very important to note is who have been invited. You know, when you say all of them, cooperators are so many. You may have people flood a venue saying, for us on UBC, we were invited.
Yes.
I saw you, I saw him, saying we are all invited, we have arrived here. Now, the General Secretary will tell us, you see, the cooperative model is somehow decentralized. We have Uganda Cooperative Alliance as the apex body.
Yes.
But then he knows that tiers, would I use the word tier? That may not be the cooperative language, it maybe the other side of it. So
you're right.
I'm right. So who are we targeting here? Who is to attend?
Oh, thank you so much. First of all, just to thank Justin and just to add on what she has mentioned, that actually, you know, we have so many cooperatives, over 45,000 cooperatives in different sectors. Talk about agriculture, that's production and marketing cooperatives, energy, housing, transport, finance, those are circles, mining, forestry. Then you go to institutional cooperatives, the Wazalendo, the Exodus, the Electoral Commission, the URA, all of that. There are so many in this country.
Yes.
Now, so you are very right. We have a very large constituency. But of course, even if you were to hire Nambole, all of them cannot fit there. 18 million are so many people. Even if you were to gazette the entire Kampala and they close all streets, I don't know, it is not possible. So that is why I want to thank UBC, that you have even, that we have a memorandum of understanding with UBC, and you are going to support us with the live coverage on Tuesday, so that Ugandans can, even my mother will be very happy because she will be watching the program. She's a cooperator. She will be watching. She was very interested. She wants to see where are our cooperatives, where are we, what are they discussing? Because Ugandans are ready. I want to tell you, Ugandans are ready to work, but there is the information asymmetry. Information is missing. So how do we reach out to everybody? It's very critical. So on Tuesday, almost from 9 up to around 1, there will be live program. I want to call upon all Ugandans. Make sure you tune on UBC so that you follow the program as you'll be moving. Secondly, whom have we invited? Of course, we cannot invite everybody, but we have invited the cooperative, the representatives of cooperators across the country. We, at least every region we are picking. Then we are inviting the unions. Because when you talk of a union has a very big constituency. A union like Ukusku, Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union, is a union for circles under Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So it has very many circles.
Yes.
We are inviting like Bugis Cooperative Union. Banyankole Kweterana, those are bigger unions. Nyakatonzi, those are bigger unions. Uganda Cooperative Transport Union, all of those the unions. And then the area cooperative enterprises. So structurally, now these unions, they feed the primary societies. And then the primary societies feed the individuals, me and you. So if they are here, then they represent a very big constituency. But again, creating a platform for even those who have not managed to come, at least to follow the entire program. Because what we are going to discuss are very pertinent issues. And we are not just discussing for the sake of discussing, but these are issues that have been generated from the farmers themselves.
Okay.
Because with the support of government, still I want to thank government, that government has really supported UCA to do the work, especially in areas of capacity building, because they realize that there is more need to educate Ugandans. So with that support, we did a capacity needs assessment to really understand the capacity gaps within these cooperatives. We have been here mentioning, why is it that you start a circle today, tomorrow it's no more? Why is it like such things? Why is there Chitabo, this man who swallowed the book? Such things, what is happening? So a team went down, it combed the entire country. But of course they didn't go to each and every cooperator, they did sampling. So, interestingly, a lot of information has come out. Number one, there are issues of governance in these cooperatives.
A very big problem.
Very big problem.
People will tell you this is our thing, we started it.
This is our thing.
We started
and the issues of governance are really symptoms, not problems. They are emanating from something which is a lack of information. People don't know. You start something and you think this is your family thing. You forget that this is a cooperative guided by 7 international cooperative principles and values. So once there is education, you empower the leaders, you empower the members, you empower the management staff, then the cooperative will grow. Because most of them do not know. Secondly, there is a problem of merit proliferation, or especially on circles. Viewers, 2003, the central bank amended the MDI Act to allow supervision and licensing of bigger circles that have a portfolio of 500 million, that is share capital, and 1.5 billion savings. Then, also in 2016, government enacted a law which is called the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act, which require all circles to be licensed, regulated and supervised by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority.
Yes.
2020, the Cooperative Societies Act was amended, requiring now circles to be under the supervision of the registrar of cooperatives. That creates a legal lacuna. So given that, we petitioned the Attorney General and he came up with an opinion and is saying, please amend all these laws so that there is harmony.
Okay.
Now, we need, as that one has been identified as a critical area to be addressed. But we cannot address anything unless these cooperators come together at a national level and discuss these issues, come up with a position. What do we want? So that we engage government from the informed point of view, not UCA pushing by the cooperators themselves. Another gap that has been identified is cooperative education, that there is a lack of cooperative education. Whenever I'm here talking, people are watching and then they start calling me. "You man, where did you study from? Where, why, how come that you understand these things?" I tell them I went to Moshi University. But how many Ugandans have the capacity to go to Moshi University? There are few.
We still only have diplomas.
Yes. Now, when you come back here, we still have diplomas and certificates. Since 1954, when cooperative education started at Zambezi. And then in 1963, government established a cooperative college at Bukarasa that later went to Chigumba in 1974. We are still at diplomas and certificates. Kenyans who started the cooperative college in 1967 have now started admitting PhDs in cooperatives. Tanzania, that started on the 5th of January 1963, Moshi Cooperative College, is a fully fledged university offering cooperative education up to PhD level. So given that there is that problem, that people, everybody talks about cooperatives, but very few people understand cooperatives. There's a difference. You can talk, but you don't understand. You can read the law, but you don't understand it. You go to the legal fraternity, they always make mistakes. You find a cooperative, let's say our cooperative like Chipinge, you always like Chipinge, we are members and there is a conflict. I brought coffee, the manager is saying, "Ah, you didn't bring coffee." Now that one becomes a dispute.
They go to the law.
They go to court.
Instead of coming to
very
Uganda
fast,
Cooperative.
they rush to court.
Yes.
When they reach court, someone raises a preliminary objection. This is a wrong court. You're not supposed to come here. You have lost the case. Because Section 73 of the Cooperative Societies Act clearly states that once there is a dispute between you, the cooperators, the matter shall not be taken to court, but rather will go through arbitration process, whereby both of us, we agree and have an arbitrator. If we fail, then you get your arbitrator, I get mine, the two arbitrators get a neutral person who will arbitrate. If we totally fail, Section 73, subsection 5 says that the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance shall appoint an arbitrator. Now, in the process of arbitration, if a ruling is made and one party is aggrieved, you appeal to the board of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. That is the process. There is even a precedence. There is a ruling by Honorable Justice Andrew Bashija in Mbarara, whereby the ruling in summary says that in the case of any dispute, the case shall not be taken to any court, whether it is magistrates, whether it is high court, the case should be taken to the board of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So, but that gap is there, people have lost cases.
And there are a number of gaps, because even when you go to auditors like you, I mean, accounts that are turning to auditors, they look at a cooperative as a company.
Very much.
And they also make that mistake.
There is that mistake also,
yes,
which has also come up, whereby I am an accountant by profession.
Yes.
But we don't study cooperatives. We don't.
You study companies?
We study companies, IFRSs and IPSAs. So we do not we don't have a specific accounting reporting standard on cooperatives. We are trying to push it at international cooperative level. I'm on that committee. So that we have a specific reporting standard on cooperatives. Why? Because a cooperative is not a company. A cooperative is a cooperative which is owned, used, controlled, and benefiting members. That one beats the principle that we are using in companies, which is the legal entity concept, whereby when you start a company, you let it go to make money for you. But for a cooperative, it is used, controlled, benefiting, and owned by you, the members. If it is, let's say, SACCO, the SACCO generates revenue from its own membership. Unlike a banker, which is a company, generating revenue from the public. So even that is why URA has been having challenges taxing SACCOs.
Which don't make profit.
Yes, and now I want to thank the government that the government has said, no, look here, let SACCOs have an exemption on income tax. Let them also have an exemption on withholding tax currently. So all those gaps are now taking us to the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting. And like she has mentioned, we are looking at so many areas, but one is how do we position cooperatives into NDP4? Because we are
very interesting, and that is Tuesday next week, where those that are supposed to be present, please, this is why we are ensuring that you're aware, and those that may not be able to come, who have not been invited, then Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC TV, will be ensuring that you follow events as they unfold. Now, very important issues you mentioned, issues of education, issues of the law, issues of governance, which is a very, very big problem in many cooperatives. Like I earlier said, the founders, I don't know if that is the right language to use in cooperatives. The founders sometimes find certain things hard to understand. Because they believe, we sat here, three of us, said this is our problem. Let's find a way of addressing it. Now later on, the Ruben Zira Toro Mene came along. And now they are bringing, I attended one annual general meeting, and I was saying, but you people who found us along, you're the problem of this cooperative. But actually we're just telling them how things should be done right. You're the problem of this cooperative. Now, when I hear you're going to address issues of governance, and I think cooperators, please do not miss being invited, because I know these are some of the issues that reign and destroy or a challenge in the cooperative model. Now, coming back to you, Justin, it is Tuesday, we're having the National Consultative Meeting, but you're also having the annual general meeting. Let's look at this also briefly.
When you talk about, the General Secretary talked about governance. When you talk about governance in cooperatives, we have a structure, a governance structure, and at the apex of that structure is the annual general meeting. The annual general meeting is comprised of members, fully paid up members of a given cooperative, yes. So below the annual general meeting, we have the board, we have the supervisory committee, and then we go to management. So the regulations, the cooperative regulations require that at the end of a financial year, 3 months after closure, we are supposed to hold an annual general meeting. The annual general meeting is a platform which is used to give accountability, where the board gives accountability to the owners of the cooperative, which is the annual general meeting. The annual general meeting has powers. It has its roles. First of all, when we're in a cooperative, not all of us can be leaders in that cooperative. So that's why, according to the structure, we come up with some members that we elect. Actually, the annual general meeting also elects the board. It elects the supervisory committee. It's among the roles. It's supposed to approve budgets. It's supposed to approve work plans. So this structure that is put in place is supposed to account to the corporators at the end of the year to tell them about what has transpired. The chairman board is supposed to account to the corporators. Maybe if it's a circle, how much revenue have we generated? What are the dividends we have made? Is there any recruitment done in the circles of maybe management? So it is an accountability platform. It's a platform, and all cooperatives in the country are required to hold the annual general meeting. Transparency and accountability is one of those are some of the values of the cooperative movement. We are supposed to be accountable, we are supposed to be transparent and share with the different stakeholders what is happening in the sector. So on Wednesday 25th September, that will be on Wednesday, the members of Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and under here we are looking now at the unions and the area cooperative enterprises, are going to hold their 56th annual general meeting, which will take place at Silver Springs Hotel, Bugolobi. Of course, as usual, our theme remains cooperatives build a better future for all. That is our theme for this whole year. Whichever activity of cooperatives globally, not in Uganda only, that's the theme on which we are riding. So it is a platform that we are going to use to give accountability, and we call upon our members. Actually, now we are, like General Secretary said, because we cannot have everyone. Thank you, UBC, for the platform. Also the X handle will also be, people should also be encouraged to follow. We shall be sharing the link so that you follow the proceedings. But in these meetings, we want you to come and we want your views. The people will be physically at Silver Springs Hotel, will be the delegates. If it's maybe Banyankole Kwetarana, who will be your delegate? You send your delegate to that meeting. If it's Busoga growers, we need your delegate. Lango Cooperative, like that. So these will be the persons who will come to represent, who will come to get the views of what is transpiring and take back the information to the rest of the cooperators who will be home, who will be back in the districts. But we want all this in the spirit of cooperation. Maybe the General Secretary can build on from.
Okay.
There.
So in brief, the law requires that at the end of every financial year, every registered cooperative society shall organize a members' annual general meeting, and should be done within a period not exceeding 90 days after the end of the financial year.
Okay.
So all of these cooperatives across the country, they organize their AGMs. So, but at Uganda Cooperative Alliance level, and that's why we are here, we are representing the whole country because we are the apex body, because the structure is that individuals come together, they form primary societies. Primaries come together, form secondary. Secondaries come together, form tertiary. Now, a combination of tertiary and secondary, you have Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So like she mentioned, we now have the unions and area cooperative enterprises. These are tertiary and secondary cooperatives. So they will be there on Wednesday. So they will attend the first day, and then the second day on the 25th, which is Wednesday. That's when we shall have our annual general meeting, where the board and other elected leaders are giving accountability to all Ugandans through their unions and area cooperative enterprise. So this is what shall be happening, and I want to call upon whoever will be invited, because we are inviting one delegate from a cooperative. We cannot have more than one because there are so many.
Definitely.
But the opportunity, the good thing is that on the first day, it will be a live program, and all Ugandans will be watching and following whatever is happening. And for those who feel you have a question, text me so that it comes on 0782 492 592 so that we can follow.
Or quickly go to the website.
Yes, or you quickly go to the
yes,
website, and even
website.
we have the media team.
Yes.
We have our communications department.
Yes.
They will be able to answer your question so that we bring on board everybody. So this is what will happen. First day, Tuesday, the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting, where we are having cooperators, we have the partners, we have the members of parliament. These are policy makers. Because when we are talking about issues of law, it is better for MPs to be there.
Yes.
We have ministers, the Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Kasaija, will be the chief guest on the first day. Because we are discussing important matters issues of national development plan, issues of youth and women, which is government. You know, government has a very big program on supporting women and youth. It's a GROW project in the Ministry of Gender. Then we are talking about issues of socio-economic transformation using agro-industrialization. Then we are looking at warehousing, receipting system in these cooperatives, issues of digital, issues of law, issues of cooperative education. So there are so many. And then on the second day, which is the annual general meeting, Honorable Francis Mwebesa, who is the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, will preside over the annual general meeting, and even the Minister of State for Cooperatives, the Office of the Registrar. So it's a very big event. This is where all cooperators across the country get accountability on what has transpired and then a strategic plan for the subsequent years.
Well, very important there. When you talk about the annual general meeting, you're just reminding me of someone who once told me that before the revamp of cooperatives, said one time they had a meeting and it was very interesting that they told them, you know what, we didn't make any losses, we didn't make any profits. So, but we managed to survive. They said this was after lunch, we had eaten, we were satisfied, we were expecting, we were all thinking of getting our transport allowances back to where we've come from, and then that is when they bring accountability issues. A man stands up and says, I have good news to announce. We didn't make any profits. No we didn't make any losses. So we are here. And they, at that point, they didn't understand what was up. If you don't make profits, you don't make losses. What is that? We have an accountant here. But that said, we have Tuesday and we have Wednesday next week, and these are very big days actually to the people in the cooperative movement. Now, when we talk about cooperatives, all has sounded rosy today. They are growing, we are having more membership, we are going to look at those challenges that are affecting us. But to many Ugandans, the credit, saving credit and cooperatives, that is the circles, are something that is more vibrant and easy for them to understand, because circles are cooperatives. But these have had a number of challenges. And one of the biggest challenges has been issues of accountability. That someone wakes up and it is hard to understand where the monies went. Two, they have had issues of governance. Three, education. Because I usually get confused. I don't know if it's me who doesn't understand things properly, but I usually hear people being told, form circles and we give you money. Now, when Ivan is explaining here, he doesn't call those cooperatives. Yet for me, automatically these are cooperatives. They're once called village banks. Now, how do we address these critical issues? That you're talking of many circles as cooperatives, but when we analyze critically their formation, they aren't cooperatives. But you look at them as your members, Ivan. And later just...
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, all that you have explained rotate around the cooperative education. And that is why principle number 5, the international cooperative principle number 5, is about cooperative education, training and information. Because there are 7 developed in 1966 under Vienna Congress, and then modified in 1995 under Manchester Congress, where they added the 7th principle. So once you empower people, then that issue will cease. What is happening where someone stands up and says, we did not make either, you know, in the cooperatives, they don't call it a profit, it's a surplus.
I think that is
to my fellow accountants, cooperatives don't generate profits, but rather a surplus. Now, if the members are enlightened, they're empowered, then there is no way you can say neither surplus nor loss. No, they question you. How come? Okay, show us your income statement, show us your balance sheet. People will know. But once you are leading people who are not empowered, who are not knowledgeable, then you can manipulate them in any way. Talk about these managers. You find the manager is a BCom holder. The chairperson of the supervisory board is senior 4. What happens? Now the chairperson of the supervisory goes to audit a circle. He finds a BCom holder. Then he asks him, gentleman, manager, we have come, you know how they put on suits. We have come to audit you. The manager will tell him, yes, you come. We have debited here and credited here. Automatically, the man is lost. Completely by debiting and crediting. So, but if these people are trained on what they are supposed to look for, if they are on the supervisory board, look for the till sheets, the waste sheets, the day sheets, the control ledgers, the cards, the pass books, then they know what they are looking for. So that is about empowerment. If the board members do not know their roles as board members, you find the chairman conflicting with the manager. If they are not strong enough, you find the manager is the king maker in the circle. It is the manager who dictates who becomes the chairman. Why? The members are not empowered. You find the board chairman calling a manager, my boss, sir. Because it's the manager who pays allowance. So without, now what happens? There was a case in the circle where the manager of a circle openly and formally he wrote and dismissed the entire board. Can you imagine? Those are issues of governance. A manager writing a letter and he says re-dismissal
of the board.
And from now onwards, you are not allowed to appear near the circle premises, signed by the manager of the circle. Why? The board members did not know their roles, their rights, their obligations. So all of that you have explained, once you focus more on education, training and information of all the structures of the cooperative, not only circles, I tell you, we shall have this economy move very fast. Secondly, I want to inform you and Ugandans that we have very strong cooperatives in this country. You talk of circles. The other day we had the manager, the CEO of Wazalendo. Yes. The man talks money. The man talks of trillions, not billions. After here, someone called me and said, you mean we have a circle that is bigger than some of the commercial banks?
About 7 commercial banks
added together. He was here with us. Then Walimu came here the other day. The union for teachers circles, they are talking money. Then you have these other agricultural cooperatives. The other day, last week, I was in Ankole Coffee. Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union. The manager told me that they export over 200 containers of coffee to Europe as a union. Chibinge here, in Masaka, Bukomansim, who were there. They are the ones who hosted the International Cooperative Day. The man gave us a report. They're exporting directly to Europe. So we are talking of these very strong cooperatives in the country. We are no longer talking of the other ones. Yes, the farmers ideally are the ones that started the cooperatives in this country. We don't put it aside, especially in coffee and cotton. But as time went on, all Ugandans have learned that without cooperation, you can't succeed. That is why you find the educated have circles. Go to Wazalendo, go to Exodus, go to the media, go to the medics, go to the lawyers. They all have circles.
Let me just rush a quick one to Justin now. Justin, like he said, you have very vibrant circles, and I must commend the work being done by government and the Uganda Cooperative Alliance in ensuring that we keep the fire burning, and every day we do that. But how best are we going to correct this thinking that you form a circle, then you get money? Because much as you are making strides, I think those that didn't get these things properly. Every day, yesterday I was interacting with a group of border riders. So one comes to me and says, Robert, we made our circle. Meaning, get people. And I told them that no, in you is power of collectivity, collectiveness. And he said, no, But they told us once we form this circle, we shall get money. There is money for us in the government once you form a circle. Get those ministers. And I noticed, because I traveled group to group under some leadership scheme, but this was the hope. This is the gospel.
Yes, that is. This takes us back still to cooperative education and to the foundation. Why do we form cooperatives? It's supposed to come from a group of people who come together with a common goal, with a common interest. They have a common challenge or a common opportunity that they see out there. So it takes us back to the foundations. And for me, I would appeal to government to put in more resources to Uganda Cooperative Alliance, because this is the key role of Uganda Cooperative: sensitization, empowerment of these communities. Yes, much as there are those which have been formed on that background, like our PDM, like the Myogas. But Uganda Cooperative Alliance can come in to engage the different cooperatives formed in that manner on how to fit in the cooperative principles and how we can, because why we want these cooperatives to be member-owned, member-used, because it's a question of sustainability. If this is an initiative that you have founded as members with your own goals, your own objectives, your own vision, you cannot just let it die. Now, what happens if maybe their budget, now globally there are those economic shocks. So what happens if now there is no money coming from government? What will happen? Will those groups collapse? And members, please, you come for that training. We have this report which has captured all those issues, the capacity needs assessment report by Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We have captured all the challenges and the proposed solutions are here in. So for more details, please, let's turn up on Tuesday. Let's hear from the research done by Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and we forge a way forward on that. Thank you.
You know, moderator, just to add something briefly, very briefly. What you have mentioned still takes us back to cooperative education, information, and training. You know, government has adopted the cooperative model, which is very good. But it is now our role to sensitize the public. For them to drop the thinking that government will give us free money. Government is supporting you with a revolving fund, but you should have the initiative yourselves to develop this country. So it is like if I have helped you and given you a suit to put on, am I the one again to come and tie the tie or whichever, or put the buttons? So government has given you what to put on. Then you also, as a mature person, how do you support yourself? So it's about capacity building. Then we go back to the policymakers for them to really know and understand the cooperative model. This is a very good model, but how is it implemented? What is the foundation? What are the principles and values? Once we do that, I tell you, with this government support, which is the revolving fund, and that is why even on Tuesday, we are discussing a topic on the role of PDM and the Myoga cooperatives. Why we cannot just leave them. These are our children that we need to nurture. We need to support so that we streamline them and put them in the mainstream so that they are part and parcel of the entire cooperative movement. So government has done its part. Let us also do our part. And like Justin mentions, let's have more resources as Uganda Cooperative Alliance as per our mandate. And also support the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Support the commercial officers downstream so that we really empower all Ugandans to understand and to embrace the cooperative model.
Well, I just want to thank you so much, Justin and Ivan here. Now I'm just going to give each one of you actually a minute to have your parting shot. And fellow Ugandans, I want to tell you, Uganda Cooperative Alliance has a very vibrant media team. So anything you don't get, well, Mercy and team are doing a good job. You just have to go to their website and you'll be finding that information regarding Tuesday and Wednesday. Just 1 minute each as we close.
Thank you so much. I want to thank UBC once again. I want to thank all our viewers, and I want to call upon everybody. Let us all participate in the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting next week on Tuesday 24th, and also all members of UCA, the unions and the ACEs, You are all invited to come and attend the annual general meeting. Thank you so much.
Justin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. In the same vein, I also thank UBC for the platform to reach out to the cooperators countrywide. And I invite our dear cooperators, dear partners to participate in the 2 events on Tuesday 24th and Wednesday 25th September, which is next week at Silver Springs Hotel. We are looking forward to receiving you there. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, my guest this morning, and all the cooperators there. Well, this is strength that can transform our economy, but also make us own our economy as Ugandans, because when cooperators develop a country, you own the assets, you own the monies, you own the economy, than rather looking at investors coming, the private sector doing so much. It is us, and together is strength and power to change our economy. See you in the next hour. I'll let Ivan and team go. And remember, in the extra, I'm back with you. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by. You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubi Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice.